Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
In order to have the best summer ever, there are some rules that you're going to need to break. And so we want to give you the overview on these. These are kind of like non-negotiable, but surprisingly, they're things that a lot of people will fall into. And if you fall into these rules, odds are not good that you're going to have a very good summer. Okay, so I'm just going to be honest with that.
Adultitis will be leading the charge, yes.
So the first one is kind of more fun, but it kind of sets the tone a little bit. One rule is thou shalt wait 30 minutes to swim after eating.
I would guess that most people still believe that.
There's a lot of people that fall for this myth, and it is a myth. I actually did a little research. I have a friend who's a doctor, and he wrote a book about some of the common medical myths that we go by. Because, of course, we all know that if you wait only like 15 minutes after having a cheeseburger and jump into a pool, you will instantly float to the bottom and die. And you're screwed. And my friend Brian, like I said, he's a doctor. He wrote a book about this, and not just this, but he said this is just a myth. There's some research I've wrote about this in Penguins Can't Fly, that there was an old manual from the Red Cross that suggested waiting. There were some old myths from, not myths or stories from Native Americans who would rub their abdomens before swimming. So there's just like different things. But the reason I bring this up is because this is where a lot of rules that don't exist come from, is that they just are there because they've always been there, or they seem to be, and we just sort of accept them as truth. And so you have a rule like this, which ends up getting printed on metal signs in public pools. And when something is printed on a metal sign, you know there's no messing around. Like, that's not something you trifle with.
Did you follow this as a kid?
I remember it. I mean, I think I remember we would have to wait. You know, I don't want to blame anyone. It just felt like it was just a known thing. It was just like, you will die. You will die.
You will cramp up immediately.
Apparently. So anyway, that I kind of want to throw this as the first one, just because it's a good reminder to just not take things for granted. This could be solved in a 5-minute Google search. This one, but yet
as can most of life's mysteries.
Still persists. All right. How about this one, Kim? Thou shalt brag about how busy thou art.
Yes, this one is almost just to allow yourself more of a self-awareness of what you're putting out to people. Like, even if you find yourself in like a busy run, which we all do, right? You just have like, a bunch of appointments and a bunch of commitments or reunions or whatever the circumstances are that maybe you couldn't control. Just talking about it is really, I mean, in a nice way, annoying.
It's fair.
Right? And no one really likes to hear people bragging about being busy.
It's also a really good test. What is that word that you love to use so much? Like a certain test that starts with the letter L.
I'm not sure you were going.
Litmus test.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
we would have been here for 10 minutes as to try to get that word out.
Litness.
Yeah. But this is, if you find yourself saying how busy you are to anyone about the summer, it's a pretty good sign that you're doing summer wrong. Because you're not, like, that's kind of the point, is it's supposed to be a little bit chill. And I know there is a lot, but that leads into the next rule that doesn't exist, which is this one.
Yes.
Thou shalt say yes to every invite.
I actually have an example of this. I was talking with a friend, and she was telling me about this graduation party that she felt like she should go to, and then she explained who this person was in her life. And as soon as she told me, I was like, you're not going to that graduation party. Like, it was so detached, you guys. But, like, she was going to be away from her whole family for, like, a whole day to go to this. And it was really too far off. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, why do we do that? Why do we heap all this sugar?
Well, I think we don't like to disappoint people. It's hard to say no, right? Which is a real thing. But what's very important to remember is that when you say yes to anything, you're saying no to everything else. Right? When you say yes to anything, that means you're saying no to absolutely everything else you could be doing at that time. And if that is the thing, I get it. Like, there are certain obligations that you have to go to. It's like your grandma's funeral. Like, not interested, Grandma. Sorry, I'm swimming that day. Okay, like, I get it, but to be able to realize that when you're saying yes to this, what are you saying no to? What would you rather say yes to? Is this the most important use of your time? Is this? And again, it's not about it's a bad thing. Like, you might very much like to do that. We got invited to a barbecue a couple weeks ago with some friends from church.
Yeah.
That would have been lovely. But Sundays are our family day, like non-negotiable. Not going to happen. Anything else. So, and we happen to have other stuff going that weekend where we couldn't switch our Sunday to Saturday and go, so it was like, doesn't work this week. And it's okay to say no and to acknowledge like how lovely it is that you are invited and included and thought of. Like, that is a wonderful, beautiful thing. And you can even say that. Like, thank you so much for thinking of me. It's not going to work out this time.
You know, another line I like to add on to a polite no is to say, keep inviting us, though. Like, it didn't work out this time, but please keep inviting us. Because I've heard people tell me specifically that they would stop inviting people because they never came. And it's like, well, I want... if you really do want to continue to be invited.
Yeah, don't say that if it's not something you don't want to do.
Right. Yeah. It's like, if you really do feel bad, then just throw that on there. Because if it's true, then it's a nice little extra thing to say.
Okay, Kim, here's one for you. I know you love this one. Thy children shall not be bored.
Yes.
You got to have them in stuff. You got to have them in camps. You got to have them in sports. You got to have them in Bible camp. You got to... get them the hell out of our house because we do not know what to do with them, right?
Yeah, I don't want to get too rageful on this, but I am pretty passionate about giving your kids freedom and curiosity and time for imagination, time to just be outside all day. I mean, this group, of course, here live tonight, you guys know exactly what we're talking about. But when you look around at the average, family these days, kids aren't even home in the summer. They're not even allowed to be, sitting around doing nothing, which is actually a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing. And I'm not saying with a tablet in their hand either, right? And so I think that's the joke we always say is like, we weren't allowed to come inside. We had to play outside all day. That's some of my best childhood memories are being outside in the summer and not having anything to do and being completely bored. But we have definitely, we're scared of that apparently as a society of giving our kids that freedom. And it's definitely showing its effects.
Well, and again, it's somewhat natural because most of kids' lives are very scheduled, especially during the school year. So they're used to being told what to do every minute of the day. At school, not at school, homework, all that stuff. So it's not, it's understandable that the kids would get bored after a while and say, I'm bored, because they're not used to just having that time. But that, as a parent or as a caregiver, should be amazing for you, because now that's your opportunity to teach them that's a good thing. My mom could give a class on this, because believe me, I was one of those, we're bored, we don't have anything to do. And like, one thing of saying, well, I'll give you something to do, that shut that down real quick, right? Some of those old-fashioned lines that parents have still work today. So don't be afraid to bring them back.
You could definitely have like the chore list ready if that sentence continues.
My dad has some weeds in the driveway he would like you to pick. That's another good one.
Brenda?
Yeah. So, bored is a good thing in the summer for all of us, by the way.
Yeah.
Here's one. This goes along with when you're on vacation. Thou shalt do and see everything on vacation. I think you understand this, right? And again, it's natural. Like, we have a trip planned to Alaska, and there's not enough time. There's too much state there. There's too much state. And we're already having to like cut things down. We're already like mentally planning. Like, we don't want this to just be pure movement the whole time. Mm-hmm. We're aware it's going to be a little bit like Yellowstone, where it's like you do want to see stuff. So it's not sitting on a beach for 7 days straight. But we already know there's things we just can't do. We can't do. And so that gives us the opportunity to really be present and focused on the things that we do want to do the most, right? And I think that's just the thing, because you hear this all the time. People come back from vacation, and what do they say? I need another vacation, because they're burned out and tired from all of the running around and seeing and all that sort of thing. So that's just a thing to be aware of, right?
Yeah.
Anything you want to add to that one? Or
I mean, I would say now that we have the internet and especially AI, like we are more equipped than ever to make the choices of what to do on our vacations. So use those tools to like pare it down and just really analyze ahead of time, and
Right.
don't just fall into the trap of doing everything.
yeah,
It'll be exhausting.
One little tip might be, like, if there was only one thing I could do today, what would I want it to be? Set your expectations that it's just one thing, and then if you get a chance to do other things, that's great. And you also give yourself an opportunity for some spontaneity too.
Yeah.
By doing it that way.
Yeah.
All right, here's a curveball. After we talk about doing and seeing everything on vacation, thou shalt take a vacation. You don't actually have to go somewhere for a vacation. There's that fancy word that came into vogue a few years ago, a staycation. However, Kim is going to get on her soapbox again for this one.
Yeah. So it's just about people who say they're taking a staycation and then they just like live their normal life at their house and do work and don't set technology rules, or don't, or start doing all their chores that they're trying to catch up.
That's not a staycation. That's just doing chores. All right?
It's just catch-up time.
Yeah.
Which it's actually, catch-up time is amazing.
Right.
We actually built in catch-up time this year into our Saturdays. But no, that is not a staycation. So if you're truly going to take a staycation and maybe like, do touristy or fun things in your town, or, be at home and be restful, or be doing things like playing games or watching movies or whatever it is that you love to do on vacation, then you actually have to do those things. So I recently had someone tell me about their staycation, and she told me more about the work she got caught up on than her staycation. And I was so upset because I was like, no. And it was like a kidless one. They have kids, but their kids were gone. And I'm like, I didn't want to like shame her, but it really got me fired up, as Jason knows, of like, what a waste,
She even said something about spreadsheets.
This person.
Yes, that was something she was working on, which for me, just, that's, and she apparently likes them, but you were like, do them on a different time.
Right.
That's
like
whatever.
spend time with your husband. So it's tricky because it is really tempting to catch up. I know.
It is difficult, the
Catching up
staycation
feels
part,
nice.
because you have everything at your fingertips, which is why the
Right.
going on vacation can actually be preferred, because
Right.
you're forced to do something else. So,
Yeah.
Anywho, okay, a couple more rules to break to have a good summer. Thou shalt maintain a perfect lawn. All right. This one I'm going to put in the category of dishes in the sink. All right. So dishes need to be done.
Yeah.
Right. They might not need to be done today. Right. So this is not a call to have your lawn look like a jungle by the end of the summer. Like, I get it. Like, we want to, there's people that have green thumbs. There are people, you got to cut the grass. Don't want to get complained by the neighbors, right? Get it. But some people take it a little bit too far. If it's not their happy place, they get caught up into the shoulds of what they should be doing. And again, there are a lot of shoulds. There's a lot of growth that happens in the summer. So again, I'm not saying you should never wash dishes, but the dishes can stay in the sink for a day. The grass cannot get cut for a day or two. It's okay.
Yeah.
No one is really paying attention to the trimming. If you just skip this week, it's okay, right? So whoever needs to hear this little
you're kind of
permission,
blowing someone's head up right now.
it's okay. It's really going to be okay. So it's just, again, it's there's a lot of the rules that don't exist are a lot of shoulds, right? So
I saw a little sign in a yard. I don't know, it was probably about a month ago when the dandelions were in full, like white blowable wishes
Full
stage.
wishdom.
Yes, and it was funny because the whole yard was filled with wishes, and I saw a little sign in the yard that said something about like I'm growing a yard of wishes or something, and I was like, hey,
garden.
way to own it,
Yeah,
you know?
it's great.
It's like I'm not gonna do anything about
I
that.
saw someone had a sign that said I'm growing a dandelion habitat, which is pretty
that's
good.
cute.
So
Yeah.
it makes it sound more official, right? More scientific. I like that. It's a
Right?
good little ecosystem there.
Yeah.
So yeah, just a good reminder. And of course, there's probably a lot of things that would fall under this category of perfect lawn. Of the shoulds might be, the cleaning the garage
Car.
or
Some people are really
keeping the
obsessed with
car
cleaning your
perfect.
car.
Whatever,
Yeah.
whatever your thing is, just
Yeah.
give yourself permission every once in a while. Just let it go off to the wayside. All right, one more. And this is this is a fun one. Thou shalt act thine age. You guys, summer is a great time for people are pretty low key and they are pretty cool with people just having fun,
Yeah.
right? You got so many opportunities
contagious, right?
with carnivals and state fairs. Going to be state fair season pretty soon. Riding the rides, eating the giant hot dogs,
Cotton candy,
yeah,
whatever
running through
childlike
the
thing you
sprinkler,
love, right?
throwing water balloons, water gun fights. These all seem to be things that are generally approved for adults to
Yeah.
partake in during the summer.
Right.
If some guy was coming in Christmas time with a water gun, then you'd be like, all right, buddy, let's
But if
Take
that
it down a
happens in the
notch.
summer, you're like, oh,
You're
they're
like,
just
oh,
having
cool,
fun.
they're fun,
Look
yeah.
at the hijinks,
So yeah, eating dessert first, blowing the diet, whatever it is, the things you don't have to act your age, okay? And if you really want to act your age, pick one. Like they said, you are all of the ages you've ever been. So if you want to act your age, act when you were like 8. Use that one. Like I am acting my age from when I was 8. So that is really the biggest rule to break in order to have the best summer ever. Is to bring out that childlike side, have a little bit of fun, even if it makes someone turn a side eye at
Does that
you.
mean I get to get the giant corn dog at the fair this year?
Yes.
Yes.
It does. It does mean that.